Hello and welcome to another episode. I think by now that everybody knows the drill, but just in case you don't, this are Kevin. Hello Kevin. Anyway, for today's show I've received a request from somebody who have asked if they can remain unanimous. And what that means are that I am not allowed to mention Sherilyn's name for the whole video. So what she have suggested, or what he have suggested, are that we look at wool. And I can hear what you are thinking already. Wool is not dangerous. It cannot even hurt a fly. And I want to say be careful, you could be wrong, because if you tie the wool very tight on the body of the fly and then you swing it around and around and around, you will at the very least be making the fly dizzy. But I think there is a good chance that you will hurt that fly, even if it are just emotionally. Now I read in a book once that you can dye wool, and this made me very angry indeed, because that are such bad English. They have left out the proposition, and what they meant to say was you can dye from wool, because they were trying to warn us already about how dangerous it can be. Anyway, if we go into the past on this topic, so if we are looking historically for a moment, one thing we will see are that the woolly mammoth are one of the first creatures that went extinct. And even today, we have the woolly cardigan that are beginning to go a little distinct as well, although some people might see that as a good thing. Now with wool, there are many sayings that help us to know what are really happening. We have the saying, pull the wool over his eyes. And I want to say you must be very careful if you are trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes, especially if that person are playing the javelin or maybe they are driving. You don't want to pull the wool over their eyes, or they could have an accident where maybe they will drive into a javelin or something like that. Another saying that we have is we say that he is a wool in sheep's clothing. He are a wolf. He are a wolf in sheep's clothing. And you can hear immediately how very dangerous that are, because you have the wolf that are wearing the clothes of the sheep, and then somewhere you have this sheep and he don't have any clothes at all, and he can be catching pneumonia or even a cold. And so what I say to you, Mr. Wolf, is leave the sheep to wear his own clothes, and you can wear your own woolly or wolfy clothes. Now, the one thing about the wool is that often they are hanging around with the knitting needles. And if you know knitting needles, you know that they can be very sharp. And so I think you will get my point with that. And so in that case, maybe the wool are not a dangerous thing, but he are dangerous by association. And so again, we must be careful. However, there are one area where the media have been very strong, because they have been making movies and documentaries to warn us about this thing. The one movie that I can think of are Good Will is for Hunting. And even on the small screen, they make that program Wool and Grace that always remind us that wherever there are dangerous wool, we must have grace to avoid the dangers of that wool. And then the other thing that I think of when it comes to Hollywood are Will Smith. And you will all remember him from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But he can be a dangerous thing. Although with him, if you're on his side, then it are normally not so dangerous. But if you are his enemy, if you are an alien or a zombie or something, then he are a dangerous thing. But I think in his case, he are a dangerous thing you will expect, because he are big and strong and he can just wrap you to pieces or something like that. And then lastly, I want to think of the statement we have that says, your last will and testament. Now when do you get that? Your last will and testament, it come just before you are dying. And if we say that another way, we say that you are becoming RIP, rip. Why are you becoming rip? Because you have choose to wear clothes made out of wool and not out of something stronger. And so you must be very careful about what you choose to wear. And so I hope today that have helped you a little bit to be aware of some dangers that can exist when it comes to wool. And as I always love to say, keep safe, not war. Thank you and good night.